Good morning, Boldly Growers. Christopher here, and welcome back to the Boldly Grow Homestead. I got a nice little treat. Today I'm going to do a garden tour. Haven't done one of those in a little while. But before we start that, got this in the mail yesterday. It's a start for a milkweed plant. So I'm going to put that in the ground. Monarch Butterfly Dan, I'll put his information down below, but he was doing a giveaway on Instagram, and I won. So he sent me out a milkweed start. So I know exactly where I'm going to put it. I'm going to put that in the ground, and then I'll show you the tour. Let's go. Homesteading, the original frontier. These are the adventures of the Boldly Grow Homestead. Its continuing mission to coexist with the environment, to find new plant varieties and new inspirations, to boldly grow like no one has grown before. But hopefully soon. And in the front here, we got a nice line of bachelor buttons starting to pop up. Red, white, and blue. A little late for the 4th of July, but beautiful nonetheless. The little hoverflies are enjoying it. And I don't know, I love the color and the shape of these petals. It's beautiful. So definitely going to be planting more of these in the future. Let's see. Behind it, we got the basil. Looking pretty sad. Probably slugs. There was another store-bought one. My basil hasn't popped up either, though I do have some in the grow bag that might do something eventually. Over here we got a pepper. Yeah, green bell pepper. Putting on some flowers. I don't think I got any fruit on here yet. Flower there too. But hopefully soon. Let's see, what one are you? Spicy bell pepper, Cajun bell. So, something different. I don't think I've seen any flowers on this one yet. But, we'll see. This one actually, is this? Yeah, this is a Brad Atomics grape. So one that I did direct seed. It actually seems to be holding on. I don't know if it's going to ever make it anywhere, but it's done better than most of my other seeded tomatoes, so I figured I'll just let it do its thing. It's not hurting anything there, so. Part of my bush bean area. What's this one? The Dragon's Tongue bean, I think, from Baker Creek. A whole bunch of those. Apparently those were the ones that wanted to pop up. More there. I got some purple beans in there. I'll have to look up which variety I have. I don't know about that one. The back's not doing anything. But yeah, these were the first ones to be planted, and they're just starting to put out beans now. They look a little stunted, but what can you do? It was a weird season, as everyone knows. And I'm starting to see these guys around. 'Tis the season, right? Have to take care of it. Here we got our store-bought jalapeno. We got our first fruit on there, and well, we had a couple flowers the other day, so hopefully we'll get some more jalapenos coming out of that. No idea. Some of these things I don't know if they're weeds or direct planted, and again, they're not hurting anything, so I'm just letting them go. And here's one of our cherry tomatoes. Again, nothing off it yet, but it's looking healthy enough, so hopefully. In the back there, we got a sweet pepper pimento. I don't know. That's not what I had meant to buy. I thought I was getting myself a spicy pepper, serrano pepper, but apparently someone put this sweet pepper in the bin with all the serranos, and I didn't pay attention. So I got a sweet pepper that would be interesting to try. We've got some calla lilies in the back. I thought I was buying calla lilies. Again, apparently I can't read. But they're still beautiful. We got a couple purple ones there. A little tiny purple one there. We had 2 white ones in this plant here. You may have seen them if you were on my Instagram. But last week we had some torrential rain and they toppled over and never quite came back up. So we cut them and they're currently in the living room looking nice and pretty. Alright, let's move around the side here. Again, don't know if this is something I put in the ground and just came up real late. Figure it out later. Sweetie tomato. This one from M.I. Gardner. It was one of his #1 recommendations, so I'm hoping it'll do something eventually, but I'm not holding my breath right now, you know. Won't hurt. This is an okra plant I transplanted. Suffered from slugs for a little bit, but it seems to be okay at the moment. Got some nice greens here. The only salad type green that actually came up for me. Surprised it's still hanging on at this point. Black Beauty eggplant that I transplanted in, because much like the tomatoes and peppers, none of mine came up, but it looks like we're getting ready to flower. I just put this in a few days ago, so it's clearly not shocked too badly. Let's see, red bell pepper. Haven't seen any flowers on this one yet. Our other okra. This is the 2 okra we're growing here. I transplanted one to the other area. This too is seeing some slug damage, but it seems to be recovering fine for the moment. I think maybe it's out of the woods. I don't know. This was where I planted a line of echinacea. Couldn't tell you if that is one or not. It's close to where I planted it, but I'm just letting it go. Most of what I planted along this margin here, so echinacea here and zinnias all along here, didn't come up the first time, and the second time I saw the occasional sprouts that within a few minutes were gone from slugs. So despite best effort to keep them at bay, here is where I seeded some milkweed, and they actually seem to be coming up this time. The first time they never popped up, so I tried again, and here they are. So hopefully these will come up and survive the slugs. And then I'll have milkweed here as well as the start that you saw earlier. I don't know about these guys. They sort of look carroty, but I didn't plant carrots there. I'm just kind of letting it do its thing. It's fun. Your little garden friend, and no flowers over there yet, buddy. I know, I want some flowers on there too. You landed on my arm. Anyways, this is one of the Amish paste Roma tomatoes that I'm hoping will take off, but I don't know. It's doing pretty good considering it was direct seeded here. Let's see. So that's milkweed. And this wild patch is where some of the first seeds I put in the ground. Carrots, radishes, planted some Swiss chard and some other things that never came up. Pretty sure none of these ever put on any significant roots. Nothing worth picking. The radishes are starting to flower, so I'm just kind of letting them do their thing. I'll pull them out eventually when I'm getting ready to seed something else, maybe another round or maybe some more beans or something. But yeah, they're flowering all the way down the line, so at least it adds a little color, a little food for the bees, and I don't know, maybe they'll direct seed themselves. Back here, there's a couple dahlias that I didn't realize I hadn't planted yet. They were just sitting in the garage for the longest time, and they were pretty sprouted already, so I just tossed them in. Figured, why not? We'll see if they do anything this year. Yeah, I don't know. My kale, my sad kale, never got any bigger than this. Actually, this is probably the biggest I've ever seen it so far. I don't know what you are. I can't read my own label, but certainly something that didn't succeed. I put in a yellow squash, straight neck squash start, just because when I was buying the eggplant and the cherry tomatoes, see on the other side, they were doing a 3 for $12. So I figured, why not get an? I have a bunch of squashes in the garden, but not this one. And it's an heirloom, so if it works well, I can save the seeds off that. Trailing nasturtiums, still hoping that they'll start trailing, but I love the leaves anyways. Let's see what else we got here. No idea. This whole line of flowers also failed. snapdragons and catnip and daisies. I don't know, all sorts of things. And all sorts of things failed. I don't know if it was slugs or too much shade or what. But I also tried doing a patch of zinnias here, and not much luck out of that, as you can see. Yeah, my conpolio pepper never came up. Or not pepper. Yeah, pepper. I don't know what I'm talking about. Alright, let's go around this wood debris that I need to burn at some point. Again, all sorts of random green things. Here's our regular nasturtiums, and look at that. That will be our first flower. I hadn't even seen that before. That's great. So these guys have been doing well in this back corner. So not quite the dinner size leaves that some people have, but that's all right. This was a Brussels sprout, I think. And as you can see, the slugs are just devastating it. I had a broccoli in the other corner that they completely stripped, so I don't think, yeah, I don't think this one's gonna make it either. In the center here, we got some spaghetti squash, planted late, so I don't know if we'll get anything, but figured why not. There were 3 in here. Obviously I don't need 3, but one of them died from the slugs. These ones seem to be past the worst of it. I did plant a delicata squash in here somewhere, but I don't know where, if it even made it. Yeah, that might have been that right there. So, slug food. Actually, yep. Where is it? Where'd it go? Slug food. So I don't know if I'll try that again this season. It might be too late, but who really cares? Alrighty, so here's the cherry tomato plant that I just put in the other day. You can see it's already flowering a little. Here's a better look at some of the flowering radishes. You can see there's not much to them, but again, they're pretty. In the center here, we got some borage. That's where I put the milkweed start that I just got. Figured it would be a nice centerpiece. I believe it's one of the pink flowering varieties that he sent me. I had planted bleeding hearts amaranth there, and they all got slugged. So hopefully this one grows fast enough that it'll outpace any slug damage. Here's my kohlrabi patch. It's looked more or less like this for a while. I don't know if it's ever going to be putting on anything I can harvest, but it looks green. My little patch of calendula. First patch didn't take off, though, as you'll see in a few moments. 1 or 2 little ones did come back late. Next to the borage, you can see my #1 weed, oak tree, little baby oak trees, and well, it's not too surprising why. Big oak tree. Alrighty, what do we got here? Oh yeah, I planted some beets. This one's toppling over, and we got a few more popping up. So I don't know if it might be too late for them, but let them do their thing. Little tiny peas coming up. They're supposed to only get about a foot tall, so we'll see. Yeah, patty pan squash. Hopefully these guys survive, because if you saw my Instagram story and post, my one on the side garden just shriveled up in the span of a day or 2, and no amount of water would save it. So I don't know what happened to that. Yellow bell pepper. Let's see, our other pest. We have thousands of ants in here. It's just incredible. Anyways, in the back here we got a whole variety of other bush beans. This is our second planting, and with more slugs. So I have been picking them off when I see them, and for the most, either feeding them to the turtle. That's a video I'll have to show you in a bit, or I've been tossing them out on the street for the birds. This, I don't know. This was in a patch of wild flowering plants that I just tossed in this little spot. And this is all that came up, and it's just what it's looked like since it started growing. And it's just kind of a mangled mess, no flowers or anything, but just letting it do its thing. That's some of our strawberries. If you have any tips on strawberries, let me know, because they put on a few fruit. Again, if you were on my Instagram, you'd see some of them, really tiny, and then they haven't really done anything since. They haven't really grown much. I'm not sure if there's supposed to be a way I'm pruning them or something, but that's all we got at the moment. In this line, I planted yarrow. Got a couple sprouts, but they haven't done much yet. Over here we have a zucchini that I transplanted from the side garden, which I'll show you that one too. This one's a little further behind that, but that's probably just the transplant shock. Here, what did I plant here? I planted marigold here with a little apparently stray calendula, I think. So those are starting to come up nicely. Again, the first round of all these things didn't survive, so I replanted. That's probably some sort of kale or brassica that's suffering big time. Serrano pepper. I eventually did go back and get a real serrano pepper, which is flowering. So here's some of the calendula that actually did end up popping up many weeks later, but why not? I hope they flower soon. I planted some lupin, which is doing nice. I think I forgot to mention, and with the calla lilies, I also have some buckwheat, some of the pink flowering buckwheat from Baker Creek, just to add a little other bit of color, and it'll feed the soil too. Rosemary transplant, and I think that's just about it. I know there's another pepper in here somewhere that I forgot to mention. Yeah, right in the back there is a Tabasco pepper, so, which I think is also starting to flower. So overall, not too bad. A lot of transplants, but a fair amount of stuff that I planted myself. So we haven't harvested anything other than those couple strawberries from this side yet, but as you can see, we got the jalapeno coming on and things are starting to flower, so hopefully. Let's go take a look at the side garden. Actually, before we reach the side garden, thought I'd show you this here. We got a little wild patch of thyme growing in our yard, so that's pretty neat. Bees love the flowers, and we actually let it go for a little bit. We might be able to harvest some thyme there, which is great because my garden thyme didn't grow. Alrighty, coming around on the side garden, we have our raspberry plant that I put in this year. Gotta do a little bit of maintenance on the grass around it, but it's looking pretty healthy. And here we are. So here's a cucumber plant I put in. The first ones I put in that I planted from seed didn't sprout. The second one round got eaten by slugs. I think you can sense a pattern. And our red noodle bean hiding there amongst the greenery it's looked pretty bad ever since it sprouted, so I don't know if it's ever gonna make it. Red scarlet runner beans. It's been putting on some nice little flowers, so I wouldn't be surprised if I start seeing some beans on there soon. Sort of the pride and joy of the garden right now is our sugar snap peas. We had to put in this 10-foot trellis because they quickly outgrew the 3 or 4 foot one that we had. They've been producing very nicely. Every time I'm out here, I'm grabbing some as a snack. They haven't made it to the kitchen yet, so I just keep eating them as snacks, but whatever. They're still flowering. They did get a little bit of sun scorch damage, but they seem to be hanging on just fine. Here we got some pole beans. They're doing pretty good. They're trying to invade the sugar snap peas, even though they got whole trellis for themselves, but it's alright. I haven't seen any flowers on them yet, but Never know. I did pull a beetle off of them earlier, so. Our one surviving sunflower in the back. And we have a truck. Anyways, here's our pumpkin. It's coming in nicely. Our first pumpkins never sprouted, but the second round did well. This is where our patty pan was before it shriveled up and died. And here is our healthy zucchini, our big healthy zucchini. Hasn't flowered yet, but hopefully soon. And then I had planted a line of sunflowers back there, and as you can see, that's the only one. Actually, I planted it 3 times, and that's the only one that survived. So that's the side garden. They bring you out to the smart pot. Well, if you made it this far in the video, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, share, like, subscribe, and don't forget to boldly grow. So out here in our field of clover, which the bees love, is our smart pot. Thank you, Callie Kim, for the inspiration. Let's see. Got some okra in here that I'll need to thin out eventually. I'm just sort of letting nature decide which one's going to be the superior one. Some tomatoes. This is an unknown variety, or at least unknown to me. It was sent for free from someone on Facebook. I think it makes like a purpley cherry tomato. And I forget what I put in the back there. I think it was another type of squash. None of my ground cherries ever popped up anywhere, but I think that's the same issue as with tomatoes and peppers, just not a good area to start them from seed. And then this basil's actually doing something. So my poppies never took off, whether they be in here or elsewhere. So I have no idea what's crawling all over the place in here. Looks like fruit flies or something. I don't know. Weird. But they don't seem to be hurting anything yet. I'll just have to keep an eye on it. Big old lilac bush. Needs to be maintained a bit more. And yeah, that's the garden so far in July. Well, if you made it this far in the video, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, share, like, subscribe, and don't forget to boldly grow.